Embedded deep in the human psyche lies the narrative of what Joseph Campbell called the hero's journey. This is more than just a mere mythological narrative. This is a deep truth that applies to every human story. This is a journey about self-discovery, living a fully realized life, or as Campbell would simply state, following your bliss. The hero's journey was his all-embracing metaphor for the deep inner journey of transformation that heroes in every time and place seem to share. A path that leads them through great movements of separation, descent, ordeal, and return. It is going full circle from the ordinary world to the special world and back again. This same narrative spans across all cultures, eras, religions, and tales, including not only your favorite stories like Star Wars and Harry Potter, but within the lives of every human being on the planet. The journey stages may be avoided, repeated, or shifted depending upon the needs of the individual story. The hero's journey can be just as much as an inner voyage into the unconscious mind as it is an external adventure.
Well, I think the average person who knows maybe a little bit about psychology or a little bit about Buddhism would think that the Buddhist emphasis or the Buddhist conversation about the ego is all about getting rid of the ego completely. There's this notion in Buddhist psychology of egolessness or no self. And most people misinterpret that, as Freud actually did. Most people misinterpret it to think that, oh, Buddhism is saying we don't need the ego at all, or we don't need the self at all, like get rid of it and then we're one with everything and that's it. And I think that's wrong. Obviously we need our egos. A good friend of mine, Robert Thurman, who's a professor of Buddhism at Columbia, professor of religion at Columbia, he had a Mongolian teacher in the 1960s who used to say to him about this topic of egolessness or selflessness, it's not that you're not real. Of course you're real. You know, you have a self. But people like you, secular people who don't really understand, think that they're really real. And what Buddhism is teaching is that belief in your own really realness is misguided. We take ourselves more seriously than we need to. The self is not as fixed as we would like to think. The ego is born out of fear and isolation. You know, it comes into being when self-consciousness first starts to come, when you're 2 or 3 years old, you know, and you start to realize, oh, there's a person in here, and you're kind of like trying to make sense of everything, who you are, who are those parents there. You know, the ego is a way of organizing oneself, and it comes from the intellect as the mind starts to click in. For many people, it stays in a kind of immature place.
Why do we have an ego? Do you know from the time we leave the womb until we go into the grave, we are being conditioned, we are being programmed. We already come pre-installed within us, okay? So what we allow in, okay, is going to determine what we experience here on Earth. In this form, in this physical form, this manifestation of who we are, of what we are, where we are. The mind is a temple of God, okay, and it has to be guarded. The mind has to be guarded at all costs. Between the Dharma and the Piyamada of the brain is the holies of holies. It's the inner chamber, but it's inaccessible to the outside world. It's inaccessible, okay, and it needs to be guarded, but it's under siege, okay. The war is on consciousness, and it's under attack. Why do we have an ego? Because we're manifesting all this fear. We're generating this fear because we have not protected the temple. We have not protected our temple. And look around you, okay? Look around you. Look where you are today, this very second. See? There's a problem there. There's a problem there. But the ego, we need the ego. But it's disinformation. You can't have light without dark. People just want, I just want the light. There's no light without darkness. I'm just going to think positive. All right? There's no positive without negative.